Hey, nice to see you again. My name is Stella, and on this channel I talk about knitting, crocheting, whatever else creative I come up with, designing, fiber arts, yarn, all the cool things. And today is already the 10th episode of my podcast where I share about my finished projects, my works in progress, my acquisitions and plans for the next few weeks. And as you might be able to tell, I am somewhere new. I kind of moved this week. I'm back in my childhood bedroom temporarily, and things have been a little bit stressful. So I'm a bit all over the place, literally and figuratively. There is stuff everywhere around me in various boxes and suitcases and bags, and I'm trying to sort through all of my childhood stuff that is still in this room, all of the things that have come in here while I was gone, and like trying to make space for my stuff. And well, I've been at it for like a week, and yeah, I can't anymore. I hope I am getting done today, but still there's big mess everywhere around me. And my first priority lately obviously hasn't been knitting, but I still have some updates to share on my new design. I have a tiny update on the other whip I have, and I did get some new yarn. So I did want to chat about that, even though I don't actually have a finished project this week. I think this is the first podcast episode where I don't have a finished project, which I'm a bit sad about, but also, I don't know, I'm working on like 2 very big whips right now. I should start on something smaller, but I've been trying to prioritize the design I'm working on, and well, it's taking a while because I'm designing. It's always taking a while, but also it's a lot of stitches. You'll be able to see in a little bit. I actually put it on some scrap yarn for you to see, so I can put it on. I'm also very curious. I haven't tried it on yet. So I guess we'll see how that goes, and let's start. So this is the state of my new design. This is the lille blouse, or at least hopefully it's going to be. I'm knitting this with the alpaca silk DK by Expression Fiber Arts in the colors pewter, which is the gray here, and champagne, which is the lighter contrast color. And this is what my yoke looks like. I finished it last night. I was hoping to finish it before the podcast episode, so I was like calling with my friends and my partner and stuff, and I was knitting away, and I was not really keeping count of my rows that well, and I thought I had really long to go, and then I ended the call and I counted and was like halfway done with the last row of the yoke and got pretty excited. So it took about, I don't know, 30 minutes to put this on some extra yarn so I could try it on, but I'm very worth it. I'm very happy with it. I think it looks pretty cool, and the sides also look pretty good. I think I'm happy with splitting for sleeves now. This was my last few rounds. I believe last time I showed this to you, I was already done with the flower petals up here. So there was just a bunch of knitting and stockinette, because this is quite many stitches. It's a DK weight yarn, so I actually don't know how many stitches this is. I would have to look it up in my very big Excel sheet that I have for this. But it's very many stitches. Like getting through one round takes me more than 10 minutes at this point, I think. I was thinking maybe it would have been smarter to hold the yarn double, so this part wouldn't be that lengthy, but then also I wanted something lightweight like a blouse. So I think holding it single, it was fine for up here. I think this part, it got a little bit tedious, but not so much that I was at a point where I didn't want to continue anymore. And I feel like the outcome is worth it. I think it looks really cool. And now it's basically just missing a body and sleeves, so not that far out from being done. I don't know, I feel like it will go much faster now, which probably I'm just being delusional. I always underestimate how long sleeves take, because I feel like, oh, it's just a sleeve. It's like barely anything in circumference, but then actually when you look at how many stitches it is quite a lot still. So yeah, we'll see. I don't really have a plan yet for what I want the rest of the body and the sleeves to look like. I am constantly going back and forth between either picking back up this design for maybe the sleeves or something, and I think that would be cool, but also maybe it's like too much at once, or picking back up the neck design, which I don't know how well you can see it like that, but it's kind of a little bit wavy, like flower petals, a tiny bit, and I really like it. I think I'm probably gonna reuse this for the body, because I don't think it would make sense to pick this design back up for the body. It would just have like two flowers pointing towards each other. That would, I mean, I don't know, maybe you're into that, but I'm not. I think it would look kind of weird. So maybe I'm gonna do this on the body, and then I'll see if I want to pick this back up for the sleeves, or if I just want to make them like elegant and flowy. I've been thinking about this since I started on this design, but I still have no idea. And now Now it's kind of coming to the point where I need to make decisions. So I hope I can finish this at least somewhat soon. I was kind of thinking I might be done with it by the end of September, like that was my original timeline, but obviously that did not work out. I don't really know why. I kept like going back and studying over a couple of times, admittedly. And I also somehow thought I would get this done on vacation. Like in the beginning of September, I was on vacation for, I don't know, 1.5 weeks. And I somehow thought I would knit all of this on vacation. I started my vlog there because I was like, oh, I'll just have a nice little vacation vlog where I also knit this down. And then I don't know, I got it to like here and then I started over when I was at home. So yeah, the vlog for this is also a little bit here and there and then somewhere else. So we'll see how long this takes me to get done. I think I actually like the idea of taking this for the body and this for the sleeves. I don't know. I've thought about it before, but right now in my head, when I'm wearing it, I can visualize it better, I think. I don't know if I have much else to update you on with this. I just knitted in the round and then I did one more increase round and then I knitted in the round again, and that's where I'm at. I also, this time, I put the stitches on not scrap yarn, but the yarn from the project actually. So you can't even see it and it's not ugly and neon green like my usual stitch holding scrap yarn. This is what it looks like from the back, by the way, if you're interested in that. I was just catching my floats here, so in one of my earlier drafts, if you remember, I had one idea where I had less flower petals and I used jacquard's ladders in the back to catch the floats. And while that worked really well, and you could definitely use that technique for here too, and I think I even might prefer to do that, I wanted to design a version of this where it is possible to do it without this technique, because a lot of people don't know it and I felt like it would deter people from making the pattern if it definitely includes that technique. So I wanted to see if it is possible to do it with just catching your floats, and it worked out quite well. So for each color change, there's only one time you catch the float for these longer distances here. So yeah, I guess hopefully next podcast episode this is done. I'm putting too much pressure on myself probably, but I'm hoping so. Okay, I'm back in my original outfit. I've been freezing here somehow. I think in my apartment, because it was such a small space, I like warmed it up by just being in it and being present in the space. But here I think it's just a bigger space, so it doesn't get warm as quickly, and I've been really cold. I've been wearing this fleece pullover all week, but I don't know, I didn't want to get my knits out to rummage through my things, so this has been the outfit. And I am also making a cardigan, so when I get cold in the next few months I can put this on. This is going to be the Esther jacket by Petite Knit, and I made a tiny bit of progress on it. I started up here. This is the back of the neck where I cast on, so this goes here later, like this. Well, I wrapped it around myself. So after the cast on, you work these increases here, which is where I stopped last time I showed this to you, and then this is the progress I made, these couple of centimeters here where there's no more increases, and you just work in the pattern, and this is what it looks like. I wanted to block this actually, I forgot about it. I don't know, I finished this section late at night and then I thought I should block this and lay it to dry while I go to bed, and then I did not, and now I didn't block it yet because the yarn for it I got, it is filcolana Peruvian, and I got it about a year ago already, and then I was really excited to knit on this, and the entire cold season I kept telling myself, oh, I'll just finish what I have on my needles and then I can cast this on as a little treat. And then it got warm before I could cast it on. So I cast it on this year, but the swatch I made for it is over 6 months old at this point, and I'm just not certain my gauge is still the same. So I am on 3.5mm needles, which is not at all the suggested needle size. That is, I think, 5mm. I might be lying, but I think it's 5. And the original yarn is actually 3 strands held together. So there's 1 strand of a wool, and then you hold 2 strands of another wool. That makes 3 strands together. And I just did not see the purpose of that. And also it was really expensive. So I got this yarn, which is not an optimal replacement, I think, because the gauge is very different. But yeah, I managed to hit gauge for the pattern on 3.5mm needles. So at least I did half a year ago. So I'm hoping that's still accurate. And I just wanted to block this and see if it fits size-wise or if I should go and knit this on a different needle size. The process of knitting this up has been okay, I guess. I don't really know how I feel about it yet. This is kind of a big section already, so I feel like I can have an opinion on it. I do like knitting texture and lace and color work and just working with charts in general, so that I enjoy. but I feel like it is very easy to make mistakes in this. I haven't really made a lot of textured knits like this, and I feel like I'm not having trouble reading my work in the sense that I don't know what's going on, but I find it harder to see at one glance than, for example, in color work, where you'll see immediately, oh, the stitch and the row underneath doesn't match up right now and something must be wrong. While here, especially since you work it back and forth and you're on the back side a lot, I find it kind of hard to tell if I'm on the right track. And then sometimes I'll notice in the end of the row that something isn't matching up and I'll have to rip back, which happened quite many times, but it's also happened that I've only noticed like 5 rows later. And I have tried fixing it with laddering down, but I find it quite complicated to do. I also, now that I've been talking to you, noticed another mistake in here, like this. This is not supposed to be a knit stitch in this one. So I don't know, like, should I go in and try and ladder this down? It's a little bit complicated to then figure out which stitch was supposed to be knit and which stitch was supposed to be purled. Or should I just leave it? Or should I try and duplicate stitch something over it? I think that's probably what I'll try to do. I'll just try to stitch a purl bump on top of it. So yeah, it's been a tiny bit frustrating, to be honest. It's not always the most fun, and especially if I'm not my most focused, I feel like I do tend to make mistakes on this. I feel like the first 30 minutes, 45 minutes I sit down and knit on this, it's fine. And then I kind of start not being as focused anymore and making mistakes. And also, like, if I'm already somehow stressed in my life and have other things going on in my mind, this is not something I would grab. So this might be more of a long-term whip, actually, just so I can work on this when I actually have the headspace to think about it. But as I said, I think the main issue is that I'm on the backside so much right now, so once I connect in the round, maybe it'll be better. I also honestly think the chart isn't always the best for the spaces in between these different diamond elements. It is kind of always like the same amount of stitches. I feel like once you knit the pattern repeat a couple more times, you will probably be able to remember it easier. But usually in charts you'll have like a thicker line every 5 stitches, just so the counting is easier, while in this chart there's nothing like that at all. So sometimes you'll be like counting 11 stitches and I'll be on my tablet zoomed in to the max and like trying to figure out how many of the little squares are in between, which isn't the most fun. I think that could have been fixed, to be honest. And for the writing style, I find this is quite difficult. It's not necessarily incredibly hard to understand, but I have knitted one other petite knit pattern, and I think I've seen some more where I feel like they are more beginner friendly in a sense. I feel like this pattern, quite often it'll leave you alone a bit, you know, it won't like give you a chart to go along. It'll just be like, now do increases and stay in pattern. And you kind of have to figure out how to do that yourself, which is not a problem, but it is, I'm kind of glad I didn't knit this last year. I think I would have probably struggled a bit more than with the experience that I have now. So yeah, maybe don't go for this if you never knitted a cardigan before, which I've actually never knitted a cardigan before, I think. I knitted my Elliot wrap, which is like a wrap top more than it is a cardigan. I guess you could somehow count it as a cardigan, but yeah, I'm interested to see how the front side will look like, but I hope at that point I have gotten used to the structure here a little bit. And I actually kind of like the idea of keeping this as a long-term whip. I have some smaller things, accessories and stuff that I want to work on over the next few weeks, so I think it makes more sense to keep this in the background and just pick it up here and there when I have the focus ready for it. And yeah, figure that out as I go, and then hopefully have a cardigan sometime in winter, which, I mean, it is called a jacket and it is made out of 100% wool, so it will probably be really warm and that will work out well, I think. For my acquisitions, I actually did get some new yarn, which is coincidentally matching my sweater, because I am participating in a test knit for the first time for the Cuddle vest by 𝗪𝗥𝗡𝗪𝗪 Stories. I'm very excited about it. I've never done a test knit before, and we are all like in an Instagram group where people have been sharing already. I haven't started yet. I kind of am planning to make it a bit of a challenge and see how fast I can knit it, because it is a very beginner friendly pattern. It is just a vest, and it is a relatively big gauge, so I think she suggests 7mm needles, and I have already swatched and I think I'm going to go down to a 6 most likely, but still very big needles. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I can get it done in a weekend. We'll see. And the yarn I got for it is called Camarose Snefnug, and this is what it looks like. This is the gray, which I'm going to use for the body, and this is the jeans blue, which I'm going to use for the finishings, like the ribbing on the neck and the body and the sleeves. And well, not the sleeves, the armholes, I guess. It's just a vest. I've never made a vest either. I'm being so experimental. I'm also really excited to see if I wear it a lot, because I have owned vests in the past, but I've never really put them on a lot. And I think the problem was that I always got them like in a basic color, like a white or a black, and then the shirts I wanted to combine them with were the same color or like the extreme other color. I don't know if I explained that well, but I would get like a white vest and then I would only have like white shirts or black shirts to wear under it. And that was just either too much contrast or not enough contrast for me. So I went with a grey for this vest, which is not something I have in my closet a ton, but I kind of want to see what greys look good on me. I think grey is like a nice neutral. And yeah, I'm very excited to see how long this will take me. I'll see if I can fit it in this week with all of the cleaning up I have to do. I also have this one skein of yarn that is back here. This is the sock yarn that I brought from my vacation in September, and I think it's really pretty. It's hand dyed, and I want to design a hat with it, and I do have an idea already. I kind of want something like court jester inspired, if that makes sense. I think it would be cute. I have some ideas for how to execute it, so I am very excited to start working on it. I would just have to roll this into a ball, which will take me a little while, and then let it swatch and get started. But I think I'll try to finish my other design first so I can chill a bit for now. And then I do have quite many leftovers in my stash from other projects I was working on, or maybe like a single skein here or there. And I do want to use these up kind of, and I am planning to make a series of accessories. So hats and fingerless gloves and stuff like that. And most of them are going to be quite basic. I'm thinking maybe I will put all of them in one video with just one day projects. And that is kind of my main priority, to get through the yarn I already have in stash so I don't have it lingering around forever. And I think after that I'll have the space in my head to think about a fully like new cast on with new yarn and a new idea. I did make a video about fall knitting plans, which I'm still very excited about all of those, and I do probably want to make at least one of them. But yeah, we'll see how far I get with the tidying up here and the knitting. And then hopefully next time you'll see me in a podcast episode, I will have a bit of a prettier background, and maybe I will get rid of this dark corner here somehow. But for now, I would love to know what you're knitting on, if you're fully arrived in cozy season yet, if you have any cool pattern suggestions for accessories, and I will see you next time.